Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
A Time for True show is sponsored by the Office of Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, a periodontal, dental implant and laser specialist in New York City, for over 40 years. Dr. Fialkoff was honored by the International College of Dentists and Pierre Fauchard, and received the Presidential Lifetime Humanitarian Honor from the White House. Call us at 718-229-3838.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome to A Time for True show. I'm your host, Dr. Bernard Fialkoff, and it's a pleasure to have you back with us again for our next segment. And tonight, we have something important because we have so much in the world. We've accomplished so much and have so much technology and advancements, but we lack humanity. And to lose all of that and to think that all of it has gone for waste with what's been going on and really in all the countries and not just the United States would be a terrific shame. So today we're very lucky, and I met a very prolific, diverse, I could use so many different words to describe this man, Reverend Paul Sladkus, because he's really quite a Renaissance man. And it was very interesting. I met him at a World Leaders Summit in New York City on Friday, held by FOPAL, Dr. Hong Taozi, who runs a group having to do with love and peace. And so Paul and I were talking, and we decided to do a show together, and here we are. So Buddha, if you put his pictures up on the screen, I want to introduce our viewers to Reverend Paul Sladkus, who was born right here in Tarrytown, New York. There you see him. He's an ordained reverend of all faiths and spirituality. He's also a musician who plays the piano and the sax, and a certified yogi. He's the founder of Milestone Broadcast Corporation, which is a full-service, multicultural and niche marketing advertising agency, helping Fortune 100 companies such as Citibank, IBM, Delta Airlines, Sprint, US Postal, Western Union. In 1998, he started GoodNewsBroadcast.com. He had a dream to use media to strengthen the message of good people of the world, of life-affirming, thought-provoking media. And he's done over 6,000 shows. It's quite amazing. He's a former executive and producer at CBS and PBS TV, with such shows as All of the Family, Sonny and Cher, Carol Burnett, Sinatra, FT Specials, Love of Life Soap, CBS, and Nature and Brain on Channel 13. He's a proud grandpa of two, having studied at Quinnipiac University, attending his BS in marketing, then went on to get his master's at Fairfield University, and then his ordained reverency at New Seminary. He's also the founder of the nonprofit Good News Corporation, and created something that I feel is very important. You see up on the screen. Pause the World for Peace. Moment for Silence. He created it 20 years ago with events that he organizes in Central Park, Times Square, and globally. The broadcast appears on goodnewsplanet.com and YouTube.com Good News Broadcasts, plus Vimeo, Facebook, YouTube, Unify, and has 130 million Facebook reach followers and additional national and international broadcasters. He's worked with Google, Facebook, MTV, and this 2023 celebrates the 21st anniversary of working for world peace. And Buddha, let's bring him up live and let's bid a warm welcome to Reverend, TV broadcaster, musician, prolific human being, Paul Sladkus.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Dr. Bernard, thank you so much for sharing my background. I'm very humbled and embarrassed. And I guess I have 50 years. And, you know, that last photo, we're on stage there, and behind us were some gentlemen dressed in white. Actually, they were from FOPAL. We brought FOPAL onto the stage. This was at the International Day of Peace on September 21st, which is the day declared by 193 countries in the United Nations. And we have been involved with that since 2002, because we are working hard with many, and we ask your audience to join in to pause the world for peace on September 21st, 12 noon. That's the request, the ceasefire by the United Nations. And we had Ringo Starr will be in Times Square on that day. And we'll be in Times Square on April 21st for Earth Day. So we welcome everybody to come down and join us. If you go to pausetheworldforpeace.org, you'll see the latest about what we're doing. But as I was saying, on that stage with that last photo, we had a big old stage. The FOPAL people who I've been working with, actually, they came in one time. I was on Pier 23 on the Hudson River after Katrina. And Katrina, we did the first fundraiser. I did it with the Salvation Army. And at 2 a.m, I did a 24-hour and raised money to send down to Katrina. At 2 a.m, FOPAL came in. I had already met them in other places because they're the happiest people in the world. They're so loving and caring. I can't say enough about that. And they rang the bell. I rang the bell there, and their golden bell. But the good news is that there's so many. I tell people, Dr. Bernard, I'm stressed out from so much good news because I'm in a good mood.
You know what, Paul? That's what is so important. That's why I wanted to have you on the show. And you have so much to offer. I wanted the viewers to kind of get a feel of how you went about this. So as a youngster, I'm just curious, when you were very young, what were your dreams back then?
Well, thank you for asking. Well, I grew up in Tarrytown, New York, right up the street a little bit from the city, Manhattan. My family was in the shoe business. I sold shoes, but I was playing music in a band. And instead of shoe business, I wanted show business. And I thought that I would be able to utilize, and I was always like the president of the class. I was the guy to put everybody, let's have a party in my house. They always partying in my house on 63 on Highland Avenue up on the crest in Tarrytown. So I just love when people all get together and have a nice time. But my mother was the librarian at Temple Emmanuel here in Manhattan on Fifth Avenue. And she was a very open mind. She skipped 3 grades. She was a very smart woman. And she went to Columbia and became a librarian. And so my mother gave me the Reverend Norman Vincent Peale's book. I mean, we were practicing Jewish community. We helped build the temple, all kinds of Jewish background, actually, and still do. I'm a practicing a Jew. But I'm a practicing everybody because I love every religion as long as the people keep their hands off of each other. In any case, but she gave me The Power of Positive Thinking by Reverend Norman Vincent Peale. That book had a big impression on me about thinking positively. And And I don't know, I just was, oh, I said, what do you mean? You could think negatively? It just didn't dawn on me. I had a nice upbringing. I was very lucky. I lived next to Marymount College, so I saw nuns growing up and everything. And so I guess I've always wanted to see the world have fun. And that was been and still is my mission I want to have a peace day party, actually. .org is what we've called it for years.
Well, you know what?
And pork,
I think it's a great idea, and you have the personality for it. You have the experience. I'm just curious because here you are. You're a musician, the sax, the piano. God knows what else you probably play that you didn't mention. So, how did you decide to go from that, and now you went into a marketing and communications career? How did that happen?
well, no, well, it actually was easy because it shows. You do a rock and roll concert, it's a show. Somebody puts cameras on you, it's a show. To me, almost everything's a show. And I could put a camera on almost everything. This conversation, we're doing a show right now. When you and I met at the Fopal event, I could have put a camera on there. That was a show. It's two people talking with each other, and life is a show. And hopefully for everybody, it's a good show and a nice show. And people have either experienced a new relationship, their existing relationship keeps growing and growing and growing, and you have a good time. We're flying away in outer space. I keep using this. This is from the moon, and today I just heard we're going to send some more people up there to the moon in a few years. In any case, but you see, there's no boundaries. I'm a John Lennonist. Yoko Ono gave me this pen, and I'm a believer in the one world. The countries to me is segregation, and make believe. That's sort of how, whatever. This is the way the world is. It's one world. We're all in this together. If we have environmental concerns for Earth Day and climatic conditions, it doesn't matter whether it's happening here or anywhere else, it's happening everywhere. So we have to stick together. I go with the Homo sapien concept. We're all brothers and sisters, or any other name you want to call yourself. I'm perfectly happy with anybody living the life they so choose or feel they are. I'm okay with anything. In any case, so it's all good. And let's just love one another. And I did Woodstock. In fact, I wore my freedom tie. It says freedom because I did it with Richie Havens. And I did the 20th anniversary of Woodstock with Richie when he sang Freedom. And we ended up doing it. Actually, they gave me the Great Lawn at that time, 1989. And PBS was going to broadcast it live, but I couldn't raise the money. I got a problem raising money. I don't know, because that's not my thing. I'm not into that.
You probably,
And,
what
I
I
knew
was
that.
going to say to you, Paul. You're probably such a kind-hearted guy that it's just money is not your thing. But thank God there's other people who know how to do it and they can help us. So you go from what you're doing. Now, what inspired you? I mean, I already got a gist of it, but I know the viewers are going to be interested. So what made you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to start Good News Broadcasting. I'm going to do Good News Corporation. What went click in your head and said, this is what I got to do?
Well, I think that started right when in my graduate school, right out of college. I ran the big jazz festival at Quinnipiac. They had the largest jazz festival in America, big band, the small bands, with some of the greatest, Dave Brubeck, Stan Getz, some of the greatest musicians were judges up there. I'm always throwing a show. And so my show in the communications, I studied the Beatles. I graduated studying the Beatles and the Little Prince. And I met my friend Sid Bernstein, who brought the Beatles to America. Their first concert was in Carnegie Hall. And I guess, shows are my thing. I made a show at Fairfield University. It was the first show in the school, and then it became even a PBS station. I think that, it's great for you and I to have met, say, for example, us, that's a show. But then to put a camera on it is a blessing, because we had a beautiful, caring, loving conversation, and the world should hear it. And so, and I'm not embarrassed for me to, share what I learn or what I don't know. People say I'm a good host because I don't know that much. So, in any case, I'm interested in what other people have to say, and I'm the audience when I interview. So, and you're very good, doctor. You're sure you're a dental man? Come on, I think you're really we're a professional. I'm going to interview you because I want to know why you're doing what you're doing. I know you got some. I was at the dentist today. You got him in the seat. You can work him
look at
over,
that.
right?
Well, so look at that. You visited one of my colleagues. I've been a periodontal implant surgeon for 40 years, and as we're talking about why you went into it, because this show is called A Time for Truth Show, and so it's interesting how we both had similar feelings, and how I realized the same thing as you is that it's important to validate other people. People are different cultures, different races, nationalities, religions, but we have so much in this world. And why do we have it? You're right. We have it because it's humanity, and we have to preserve our neighborhood. It's our neighborhood. The world is a neighborhood. And, so it makes total sense what you're saying. Let me ask you something, because you work for CBS, you work for PBS, you did major things, major shows. So then what was it that then you said, okay, I'm going to pause the world for peace. I've done all these things, but this has got to be something that's got to happen. What was it that you said that, okay, this is what I'm going to do? Tell us a little bit about that. How did that come about?
Well, it came about because I was so CBS 7 years, Channel 13 7 years, and then 6 months WNYC, the head of marketing. At WNYC, the city-owned station, they leased out their time to foreign broadcasters. This is back in 1985.
Uh-huh.
And then actually, literally, the Chinese who had rented the World Journal, which was the largest Chinese media here in America, out of Taiwan, mainly because the people from mainland China couldn't leave China. But the Taiwanese were the ones who actually came to America first. And so the owner of the media said to me, if I tell you what he really said, he said, you're white, you're Jewish, you probably can get into Procter & Gamble and make a sale for us and make advertising dollars. I said, well, look, I figured there's a lot of Asians, and I'm going to take on the Asian market. The Latino, Hispanic community had some powerful agencies, okay? The African American, the Africans, Black communities had agencies. So I took on the Europeans, of which were my ancestry, Hungarian, Polish, Austrian guy, and the Asians. So I took on the Asians, and I started with the Asian market, and I represented everything in this country as a media rep. So I first made a deal with the Chinese to make a deal with them. So if I went to J. Walter Thompson or Young and Rubicam, the big agencies, they would get 15% and I'd get 15%. So I started with the Chinese, then I went to the Indians, then I went to the Koreans, I went to all the ethnic Asians, and the same with the Europeans. So I did that a long time. That's where I worked for Sprint and IBM, and I learned what I was doing. And they all fed me, which I liked also. And, their native foods. So that was always fun. And they didn't pay me. The only time they paid me is if I made a sale. Okay, so I'm working for free for all of them. And I never worked for just one because I never thought that was the way you should market to the community. Because everybody in these ethnic media one might read the World Journal, one was reading the Tsingtao, one is reading another Chinese paper. So, and the price of what it is as compared to general market is so little that you should, if you're Sprint and IBM and Western Union with big budgets, you should buy them all. And then you get 50,000 here and 20,000 here and 30,000 here. Before you know it, you got a real, then, you're going to do pretty well. But what happened was at one point, Sprint and Citibank decided they didn't want to do multicultural marketing. Mainly Sprint, who was at my time. The Postal Service was good too. And I did amazing things. I did maybe 500 events. I did the Lunar New Year stamp. I put something in the New York Times. I brought rock and roll music into China. I did stuff in Yankee Stadium. I did all kinds of crazy stuff to promote them. But then they decided they didn't want to do it, and I decided to go back to television roots, and the internet was coming along. I started when YouTube started, 1998. They just started. I started at the same time because I had some young people sublet my space on 18th and 5th Avenue, and they said, yeah, do it on the internet. You don't need to buy it. And I couldn't afford $300 million for a TV station. And they said, yeah. So I bought $70. I bought Good News Broadcast because I'm passionate about good news. Some people say it's religious, but I'm not from. It's not a religious commentary. It's the opposite of negative news. And everybody thinks when you say the word news, there are very, very few people that will think positive. They're going to think negative. So I did it because I want my grandkids to see positive news, and I've stuck with it, and I'm staying with it. And we're up to about 165,000 viewers now, and that's good. But if it's 165,000 or one, either one is important to me, because if we get a message out one by one, then we have made a success.
Give them a few things on what you think are the secrets to succeeding.
I think the secret of succeeding is having a passion for something. And you knowing yourself what you like, art, whether it's creative arts, whether it's accounting, whether it's finance, whatever it is, you like to watch baseball games, you like to watch the opera, you like to do nothing, whatever it is, you like sports, whatever it is, I suggest that you figure out a way. And there are ways, because first of all, entertainment industry is the biggest export of America. So it's a big business. So it depends on what you want to do. Follow your passion so you never go to work, but you're working. And the other thing I think that's important, besides your own personal passion and love, is to find and be lucky enough, and I'll say this, fortunate enough to work with people that you also love and care about, okay? Because I've been blessed with people that you could say, you wouldn't even say I'm working for them. They wouldn't say it even. They would say we're working together to get this job done. Maybe they were their president, and maybe I was the vice president, or maybe I was the schnook, and they were the big success. You want to work with good people, because life is, I hate to say it, short. So, and there's no money that can pay for good happiness, and there's no money that can pay for good health. So and if you're not with a situation that you're really, really comfortable, do yourself a favor, do the other person a favor also. You're doing them a favor, actually, if you quit. Or and you just say, or you go in and confront the scenario and try to make it better first, I suggest, because communications is the name of the game. I don't like you, you don't like me, why don't you like me? I don't you don't think that what I'm doing, but so it's like it's a marriage. I marry people. I tell them sometimes it might not work. You gotta communicate a lot. So right, exactly. I don't know. I think it's having good communication skills, and I think actually I'm a little concerned with the ability, the phone texting and social networking. I hope that people still, and AI coming around the corner, we won't even need people to do anything. So the point is that I think try to talk to people, because talking to people, and try to have a home dinner with your family. I remember I interviewed Florence Henderson from the Brady Bunch, and she said what's hurting is the family structure. People don't sit down and have a dinner together. Exactly. And if you are blessed, and I'll say it, blessed, big time, I'll say it, to have a good family. If you are blessed to have a good family, if you're not as blessed and don't have a family, then find friends or even other family people who will appreciate you.
I think you really hit it on the head, because there's so many solutions we're trying to come up with for the drugs that are going on in the country, in the world, the violence, the sex trafficking, all the different maladies. But I think you really hit it on the head. To me, if the family is going to disintegrate, if we're not going to have a family structure, if we're not going to have something that we can come home to that gives us love, security, where we can relax with our family, I think you're right. I think that's led to a lot of the problems that we're having in the society. And I want to ask you, because you have so much going on. We're getting near the end of the show, but I wanted to ask you, what goals and dreams do you have in terms of what you're doing with this Pause for Peace and the life affirming shows? What goals and dreams do you have now for these entities, these activities that you're embarked on?
So with the, I'll stick with the Pause the World for Peace. Well, I have a few things that I'm very mean a lot to me. I'd say the biggest one is I really want to pause the world for peace. At one point, I wanted to stop the world, but a guy named Maurice Strong, who was a friend with Kofi Annan and Mr. Trudeau in Canada, said, stop the world is a little too. I said, I want to stop the world, but I want people to stay on. So he said, why don't you just pause it instead of stop the world? I'm going to get off. He paused the world. At 12 noon on September 21st, 193 countries raised their hands, okay? So they can't run away from the fact that unanimously agreed in the United Nations, and not everybody's part of the United Nations. A lot of people have their ups and downs. It's not a United Nation. I'm not even an NGO. I didn't join the UN in that way. I want to be an independent nonprofit and just do our thing. I like to be independent in general. I believe in it. They do a lot of good things, like everybody's doing. Everybody's doing. And then there's people doing nothing, and they're doing good things. I'm happy with that too. So in any case, so I really want to pause the world. This year we have some major events. We have coming up Earth Day and Water Day also at the same time. We just did a big Water Day conference, and we're really into it. So Earth Day will be Earth Day and Water Day. No water.
What day and time, so the viewers will get that? What day and time?
April 21st, Times Square, 11:30. Hopefully we'll have enough people. I created the largest human peace sign, and I also want to put peace signs on every border, human peace signs on September 21st. And so, and then 11:30, then 12 o'clock, Ringo Starr will ask for a moment of silence for peace. Possibly Folk Power will ring some bells, and if not, we go into Michael Douglas saying something, and then we have some entertainment, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jane Goodall. Those are all peace messengers, Shakira, Stevie Wonder. That's all virtual. And then we have a lot of talent. I can fill up 100 hours of shows because a lot of people care about the world, and that's the good news. And good news broadcasts, we just keep on keeping on, creating more content.
You know what, Paul?
I want to buy our company.
You and I could go on and on and on. And unfortunately, we've run out of time on the show, but I really appreciate you coming on. And for the viewers, go to this. It's going to be in Times Square, right?
Times Square, April 21st, 11:30 starts the event, 12 noon, 12 to 4 p.m.
Good. And your website is?
PauseTheWorldForPeace.org.
There you go. So we look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be a beautiful event, and we hope you've enjoyed the show. And let's take Paul's advice. Let's have fun. Let's get together and work together. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much. You did a great job. Really great host. Thank you.
It's easy when I have someone like you. Have a great night. We'll see you on the next episode of A Time for Truth show. Be well.
This show was sponsored by A Time for Truth Foundation Incorporated as a community service.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. Try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving all at your feet.